is a UNCG Pedagogical Poetry Society video, and I'm Carol Ann Morris, and today we're going to be talking about sonnets. Now, the sonnet is a poem composed of 14 lines that typically follows a structured rhyme scheme. There are four kinds of sonnets. There's the Shakespearean sonnet, the Petrarchan, the Spenserian, and the MILTONIC. These categories typically dictate the kind of rhyme scheme that the sonnet uses and how it's organized. Today we're going to focus primarily on the Petrarchan and Shakespearean sonnets, but we'll go over a brief definition of the four main categories. The Petrarchan sonnet, also known as the Italian sonnet, is usually divided into two parts, the octave and the sestet. The rhyme scheme in the octave is ABBA, ABBA, and in the sestet, the rhyme scheme is either CDE, CDE, or CDC, CDC. Petrarchan sonnets usually deal with issues of nature or romantic love, and ask a question or pose a problem in the octave. Then, a solution to that problem is proposed in the sestet. The MILTONIC sonnet is a variation of the Petrarchan sonnet. It follows the same rhyme scheme as the Petrarchan sonnet, ABBA, ABBA, CDE, CDE. It differs, however, in its content. Rather than addressing nature or romantic love, the MILTONIC sonnet typically deals with politics or morality. The Shakespearean sonnet, also known as the Elizabethan or the English sonnet, is divided into four parts, 3 quatrains and a couplet. The rhyme scheme for a Shakespearean sonnet is typically AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. And each line contains 10 syllables in iambic pentameter. Like Petrarchan sonnets, Shakespearean sonnets pose problems or questions, but these are developed over the course of the 3 quatrains, leaving only the couplet at the end as space for the solution, also known as the VOLTA. Finally, the Spenserian sonnet is a lot like the Shakespearean sonnet, but with a different rhyme scheme, AB, AB, BC, BC, CD, CD, EE. Sometimes Spenserian sonnets include a volta before the couplet, but it's usually a false solution, with the true solution appearing at the end, in the couplet. There are other variations of the sonnet, but these four categories represent the majority that you'll encounter. Now, let's take a look at a couple of examples of the two primary categories, Petrarchan and Shakespearean sonnets. First, we'll take a look at Petrarch's O joyous, blossoming, ever-blessed flowers. O joyous, blossoming, ever-blessed flowers, mid which my pensive queen her footstep sets. O plain that hold'st her words for amulets, and keep'st her footsteps in thy leafy bowers. O trees, with earliest green of springtime hours, and all spring's pale and tender violets. O grove, so dark the proud sun only lets his blithe rays gild the outskirts of thy towers. O pleasant countryside, O limpid stream that mirrorest her sweet face, her eyes so clear, and their living light canst catch the beam. I envy thee her presence, pure and dear. There is no rock so senseless, but I deem it burns with passion that to mine is near. So there are a few things that we can notice about this sonnet that make it exemplary of the Petrarchan sonnet type. First, notice the octave and the sestet division in this poem. The octave, which is comprised of the first 8 lines, follows the ABBA, ABBA rhyme scheme, and the sestet, the last 6 lines, follows the CDC, CDC rhyme scheme. We also see the characteristic glorification of nature's beauty as well as the speaker's romantic love for a woman. In fact, the speaker weaves his appreciation of nature's beauty with the beauty of his lover in such an emphatic way that, in the final couplet, he explains that his passion for his lover exceeds the burning heat of the sun. Now, let's take a look at an example of a Shakespearean sonnet by the man himself. This is sonnet number 138, When My Love Swears That She Is Made of Truth. When my love swears that she is made of truth, I do believe her, though I know she lies, that she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtleties. Thus vainly thinking that she thinks me young, although she knows my days are past the best. Simply I credit her false-speaking tongue. On both sides thus is simple truth suppressed. But wherefore says she not she is unjust? And wherefore say not I that I am old? Oh, love's best habit is in seeming trust, and age in love loves not to have years told. Therefore I lie with her, and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flattered be. So there are a few things that we can notice here that are exemplary of the Shakespearean sonnet. First, notice the three quatrains and the final couplet, or the volta. Quatrain 1 has the characteristic ABAB rhyme scheme. Quatrain 2 has the CDCD rhyme scheme. Quatrain 3 has the EFEF rhyme scheme. And the volta has the GG rhyme scheme. Also, each line of the sonnet contains 10 syllables and is written in iambic pentameter. One unstressed syllable followed by one stressed syllable. For example, in the first line, the words when, love, that, is, and of are unstressed, while the words my, swears, she, made, and truth are stressed. The problem being developed over the course of the first three quatrains is that of lovers' lies to one another. This particular sonnet was published in the Passionate Pilgrim in 1599, and is part of the so-called Dark Lady sequence of sonnets, all of which revolve around the speaker's relationship with his lover, the Dark Lady. In this sonnet, the Dark Lady lies to the speaker, and though he's aware of her lies, he simply plays along, hoping that she will think him younger than he actually is. The solution proposed in the volta is simply that the two will continue on together in their respective deceits. These two examples showcase some of the typical characteristics of the Petrarchan and Shakespearean sonnets. But when you're analyzing any sonnet, some initial elements to consider are things like stanza divisions, octaves, quatrains, sestets, and couplets, as well as things like rhyme scheme, meter, and theme. If you take a look at these elements, you'll probably get a pretty good idea of what kind of sonnet that you are dealing with. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out some of the UNCG Pedagogical Poetry Society's other content.